Hello and welcome to the Comparesoft ERP Podcast. In this episode, we're going behind the curtain of ERP delivery, looking at what actually happens once you've chosen your ERP and what it's like to work with an ERP implementation partner from the other side of the contract. Today, I'm joined by Yuriy Zaletskyy, CTO and co-founder of Acupower, an ERP implementation partner. Yuriy has worked on ERP platforms for over 13 years, starting out as a developer and blogger before building the company he now runs. We'll explore what buyers should expect from an ERP delivery partner, where implementations typically run into trouble, and the most important questions every buyer should be asking their implementation partner. Yuriy, thanks for joining us today. How are you?
Doing my best to be best, but there is a big competition. Everybody wants to be the best.
You've just got to win. That's all it is.
Yeah.
So, Yuriy, before we get into what working with an ERP implementation partner actually looks like for a buyer, I'd love to understand a bit more about you and how Acupower came to be. So you've described Acupower's origin as the result of two things, an accident and thankfulness. Can you walk us through how a personal blog accidentally turned into the ERP implementation partner you run today?
Yeah, that's kind of interesting story. It happened that I had not the best medical treatment, and I get blood clots, which took kind of a big part of my leg. And for me, it was necessary to get treatment. And in order to get treatment, it was kind of, for me, it was necessary to get pretty big amount of money.
Mm-hmm.
It was around 15,000 euros. And I'm not the person who, let's say, who is good saver of money. But even if I would be good saver of money, this amount is still pretty big even for me. And in order to get it, I wrote an email to my colleagues where I worked, and I sent to them video on TED where speaker says that you can buy happiness. But how to buy happiness? You need to buy gifts to somebody, and the more gifts you give, the happier you will be. And then I started from that video, and then so I suggest everybody to buy happiness. You can save my life. And to my very positive impression, the company where I worked, they paid me 3 salaries in advance. And also my colleagues, they did pretty good substantial donation to me. I still had to borrow money in the bank, but with all of that, I was able to go to Germany, get my treatment, get back to Ukraine. And then 2 months later, CFO of the company comes to me and he asks, would you make us a favor? We want you to become our lead Acumatica developer. And my reply to him was, listen, I don't know what this word in between means, but I'm your slave to the end of my life. Consider this as done. Yeah. And what kind of interesting was that I'm not like Acumatica at the time. It was very, very unfamiliar, very new product on the market. It was in 2013, and it was 5 years for ERP. And if to compare with ERP switch on the market from 1970, just 5 years, it was very risky investment on my side. But yeah, because of gratitude, I didn't have a choice. And I started to blog. Let's say if I try to figure out something in Acumatica, I noticed that 2-3 months later, I'm kind of, I've forgotten how I did it. And I decided to blog about it. So it was like my blog designed to be Google of my mind.
Like a library, yeah.
Yeah. And to my impression, a couple of years later, plenty of people started to write me like, hey, can you do for me this? Or can you do for me that? And initial reply was, listen, I'm just a developer. Why do you bother me about it? But with flow of time, I decided, why not to make a company? Like there are incoming requests, people should be willing to pay money. Why not? So that's how gratitude created my own company.
That's an incredible story, and that gratitude paying off as well. So now as CTO, of an implementation partner, you sit between the software vendor and the buyer, and when these two sets of interests come into tension, where does your primary loyalty sit and how do you manage that?
This is a tricky question. First of all, I always make sure, I always make sure that I hear what customer wants,
Mhm.
and here is a bit, let's say, being founder of the company, I make sure that my people hear what customer wants. This is first of all, of utmost importance, because quite often people have imagining that we understand what customer wants, or sometimes people assume like customer wants this in ERP, but he really doesn't know how this should work in this particular ERP. And because people don't see that they heard, this is when problems start. Because quite often people say, I want to have this or that in ERP. And employers can say, yes, our ERP have it. But when they describe how it have, customers say, no, but I want it to have differently. And this may be incredibly painful, let's say, if it is 1 month go live or post go live. So that's very important to, again, show that we hear the customer. First of all, hear customer, show that we hear him, and only after that to show to him ERP. Not the opposite.
Yeah.
We will show you ERP, and then we will convince you to love our ERP.
And I suppose one of the most important jobs there is also tracking promises. So making sure what your sales team commits to is actually deliverable by the implementation team, So how does that work in practice? And how often do you have to push back?
We have a process which kind of prevents from pushing back.
Okay.
Because first of all, we have quite extensive discovery sessions. And for me, it was very, it is very shocking when I get requests sometime to my inbox. Somebody bought Acumatica, and that company, let's say this is field services company, but somehow they bought manufacturing edition of Acumatica, and they say, hey, it doesn't work for me.
Right. Wow.
And for me, it's like, okay, describe to me how did you bought it? Well, we found it on Google. We found this provider. We bought from him Acumatica, and then we have problem. I believe, I'm probably unlucky person, because quite often we have very, very well trained buyers. Our buyers so far, which is in our pipeline, they send us RFP. And I need to admit that I hate RFP, but from other side, those RFPs are, company says like, hey, like companies show we did our homework. This is what we want. And the second point, so first of all, like RFP, we discuss what our ERP has. What is kind of ironical recently, there are a lot of AI tools which help to fill RFPs, and our customers use also AI. And sometimes I see AI conflicts. Let's say when AI says no, this reply is not correct because, let's say Acumatica doesn't support it, and then we need to say like, no, listen, our ERP supports it. We just need to educate your AI tool that it has.
Is that quite a common interaction now, Yuri?
I can tell you the recent one, which we have right now in our ongoing discussion, is like one company, they approach competitors, so to say. They give a reply. That reply was checked through AI. AI said, no, it is not correct. And customer asked, can you demonstrate to me how this ERP supports it? Somehow competitors refuse to demonstrate, and that company then come to us and say like, hey, this is what AI says. Can you show it to us? And we showed. So let's say for now, we didn't see ourselves this conflict between our RFPs and what AI says. But we've seen sometimes situation when RFP is filled by somebody, then it is double checked by AI, and so on. If to get back to tracking promises, very important is to have a good discovery session and building prototypes. And I can tell you, we have one company which decided to buy Acumatica from us. It was 9 months back and forth. Like they asked, like, we want to have definitely this workflow in Acumatica, and we want to make sure that it has. And Acumatica was built in a way that it's a bit, let's say, different that customer expected. But our position, like, listen, we can create small customization. Like, okay, small customization, it should be done within a week. Yeah, within a week it will be done. So we built for them within a week, and then, okay, now we want, I believe, 8 critical workflows, which for them is like, we don't like, because basically if ERP is flexible, every customer has a choice. I can stretch ERP or I can stretch my team. And quite often it is easier to stretch, at least for us. Yeah, it is easier to stretch ERP than to stretch a team. While, yeah, there are ERPs which, let's say, not very flexible, and you need ERP, you have no choice.
Yeah.
You assemble your team and then educate them how to use. But yeah, this is kind of tricky part from probability standpoint. Like, I will speak as developer. Yeah. Let's say we have people with very good memory, which can retell what they learned with 90% accuracy. And if we speak about chain of 4 people, then it means chances that person number 5 will get information correct is only 80%. But in reality, I don't know anybody who have memory for 90% capacity. Usually it's much, much lower. So quite often everything is lost in translation. And getting back to tracking promises, very detailed discovery sessions. And for now, a lot of our customers demand from us, or I would put it this way, rather potential customers, they demand from us, I want to have prototype how it works. And then it reminds me a bit of a story. If you take like, what is bigger, small coin, yeah, or sun? Sun, of course, is bigger, but if you have coin very close to your eye, then you cannot see the sun because it is very close. And the same we see with MVPs. Like customer says, I want this MVP. Yeah, they have this MVP very close to the eyes, and we remove that MVP. That, oh, and now I want 5 more. I like, listen, we can be in this cycle forever.
Yeah.
Of course, yeah, like, we will charge you for building all of those MVPs, but maybe you can make a decision faster.
And that you said there about a client, the 9 months back and forth. That was 9 months before any implementation process started, like any work started on it.
We just built a different MVP versions for them.
Right. Okay.
So basically, like, we delivered them kind of sales demo of Acumatica. We added a bit of their data, which was important for them to see that it works, not because, let's say, sales demo of Acumatica, it's more like everything and nothing. Like, it has 250 stock items, around 6,000 transactions. So it's very hard to be representative for specific business. And for that company, it was important to have 10,000 bundled items, pretty big amount of transactions, performance considerations, and so on. And they wanted to discover performance of Acumatica, not post factum, like, okay, we spend money, we buy licenses, and boom, it doesn't work. They wanted before.
And then you said they wanted a prototype. So is that using their real data as well? And how long did that take to build that prototype for them?
We had a couple of projects on that prototype. I believe 3 projects were like, they said, we want to have this data, we want to have this chart of accounts, we want to have this functionality. So not a big amount of efforts from our side was, but much bigger amount of efforts was between, let's say, big company. And I imagine that a lot of discovery is being inside of the company because, let's say, in company sometimes happens, managers come, manager goes. And if information is not very much centralized and ERP is outdated, then quite often people have, let's say, manager imagines that everything is in ERP, while in reality, a lot of information is in the head of employee along with Google spreadsheets of that employee. And quite often we had relatively long discussions, not how we will deliver it, but let's say customer says, I want to have A, B, and C. And my team discovers, listen, A contradicts B and B contradicts C from this and this and this angle. I'm like, okay, I will need to find out. Then he goes to find out, and 1 month it takes for him to come back to us with reply. And I can and when I ask hey, why, if I may ask, why did it take you so long, 1 month to discover him? Reply was somebody's on vacation, somebody's on sick leave. And one person says this, another person says that, and another person says that. Okay, welcome to enterprise.
So if there's sometimes a gap between what buyers are shown, in demos and what they work with once their implementation partner gets involved. We've touched on that briefly. If, for example, if I've just watched a polished ERP demo and I'm feeling confident about a product, what should I expect to be different once my implementation partner starts that actual delivery?
There is always unknown area, something that's like somebody who makes demonstration and somebody who makes implementation, they not always the same people. First of all, because let's say it is typical, that somebody who makes demonstrations, they should be a bit more charismatic people. Somebody who knows how to work with auditorium.
More sales, more marketing sort of focus.
Yeah. And somebody who makes implementation, he is responsible for how he will implement. So we have chain number one, communication between demonstrator and implementer, how good, quality of chemistry which they have between each other. And quite often somebody who is, let's say, very good at demonstration, they may be a bit reluctant on some nitty-gritty details. That's not about our team, but sometimes we've seen anyway friction in this area. So first of all, how good team members speak between each other. And second point is, again, a good discovery session covers or prevents this from happening, based on what I see, quite significantly.
Yeah, sure. Most of our research, there's a lot of it out there on ERP implementation failures. A lot of it points to between 75% of implementations fail. So as someone who delivers these projects as an implementation partner, where do you see this failure likely occurring in practice? What are the most common causes that you see?
From my standpoint, first of all, I would challenge this digit. And the reason why I would challenge it, let me put this way. If I have pain, I will be very loud about it. But if everything is fine, I will be very protective, about it. I will immediately speak about data protection. I will speak about NDA and so on, and so on. So, quite often, again, pain is very loud. If I would visit dentist and I will get my tooth fixed, I'm not so sure if I will go on social media to post hey, dentist so-and-so in clinic so-and-so made wonderful job for me. But in case if it will go wrong, I will do my best to trumpet about hey, beware of so-and-so.
Yeah.
And the same about 70 or 80%. Again, I just want to mention that my team, my marketing team, they use this digit as well, 70, 80% fails, but we're just very careful how to use it. We don't say that 70 or 80% of our implementations fail, but we make sure that according to Gartner,
Yeah.
or according to some other research company, 70 or 80% implementations fail. Come to Acupower, we will not fail.
So are you saying you have a 100% success record then, Yuri?
For now, yes, and I hope
Excellent.
it will stay.
Yes. Very
I
good.
hope it stays the same.
Something you mentioned to me that customization, it's treated as the root of all evil in ERP. That's what you said to me, and I found that so interesting. And if I'm a buyer being told by my implementation partner to avoid it, what am I not being told? Like, when is customization actually the right choice?
I would put it this way. So, first of all, question is if ERP by design supports customization or not.
Mhm.
Because if ERP was built in a way not to support any kind of customization, then that's absolute truth. Yeah, because creator make sure that only publisher can make modifications. So if ERP is built in a way that you cannot customize it, then definitely it will be the truth. Or another example which can be important, there are ERPs which allow you to customize only UI. Like it can have more fields, more buttons, but it is executed completely, let's say, as addendum, and you cannot have it. In scope of Acumatica, which kind of surprised me when I started as a developer, I was kind of impressed how deeply customizations can meddle with Acumatica. And literally speaking, I can turn Acumatica upside down. So like accounts payable, I can make behave as accounts receivable and the opposite.
Okay. Yeah.
The fact that I can doesn't mean that I should.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the second point, which is important, is to make sure that customization satisfies some business needs.
Mm.
And here's kind of interesting example. I had one jewelry company, and they had one report opened very often, very often. And when I say very often, I believe it was around 20 times per hour. That report was connected to precious metals trading, so platinum, gold, silver. And they paid, in my opinion, pretty big amount of money in order to optimize it, opening it from 1 minute 30 seconds to, I believe, like 1 minute or even faster. And it required like pretty heavy, like say, customization. And I tell them, okay, so this will be this amount of money, and let's say it is X. And to my surprise, I said, yes, go ahead. It like quite often people who work in jewelry industry, they are very picky about what they invest. And it's usually no matter what quote we give them, they always have a habit to challenge it. And here, when they didn't challenge that report, for me, I was like, man, are you get sick or what? Why do you
Maybe I
don't
should
you
have charged
challenge
more.
it? Yeah, maybe I should charge more. And his reply was that this report is opened by like pretty big amount of his people, and because he pays to his people hourly for by hour rate, because it's like basically this 30-40 second speed up, it will help him to save up in scope of his organization around like 100 hours every day. And he said, like, for me this is no brainer. For me
Yeah.
it's like, this is extremely cheap.
Yeah.
And second point, which I would like to mention, is culture, company culture. Like, let's say, if to speak about car producers, there is company Mercedes and there is company BMW. Both of them use SAP. But I would be hugely surprised if SAP of Mercedes and SAP of BMW is the same SAP. I would be hugely surprised because although, this is a car, this is a car, like they have a lot of common characteristics, but they have something that makes BMW BMW and Mercedes Mercedes. And the question to business owner is, how do you want to grow your business? Like, do you want to be, let's say, different, or you consider yourself that we are as thousands of others? And again, this is my question to business owner. Like, how do you want to grow your business? Like, you want to be as thousands of others? Of course, you don't need customization.
Mm.
Just do what others do, and that's it. But if you are really a Mercedes or really BMW in scope of your market, then maybe you will need customizations, because ERP, by like in the end, ERP is digital business model of the company. Like whatever business does, it is reflected in ERP, or it should be reflected in ERP, because otherwise, company culture may very quickly just disappear. And based on that, I seen different feedback. I think business owners who appreciate their business culture and they say, yes, we need, we need to have. And there are those who says, no, we are like the same, like everyone else. I don't care. Like, I just want, like, I want to have exactly as works for them. Okay.
Yeah.
You like, you pay the money, you, you order music.
And when they don't get the results because of that, do they come back to you and is there any back and forth there? And because you've sort of explained the risks and challenges of that.
From this standpoint, we have policy of, let's say, warranty. Yeah, like we make some promises according to discussion, and we make sure that our promises, like we make sure that promises is not just delivered as a document, because what often happens, if people receive documents, they get a document and then the document, like they look like, okay, this amount of money, this is here my signature, I agree. We're doing our best to make sure that we discuss with customer verbally what kind of promises we make. And then we say, you can sign it now. Yeah, I will be very happy because, yeah, or you can sign it later. But those are our promises, those are our expectations. And so far, like I would say we act against our sales because we push people to think what they really want. But so far, our customers are happy that we act against, like, anti-sales, so to say.
Yeah, brilliant. And if a business has chosen its ERP, they've signed the contract, they're now starting to work with an implementation partner like Acupower. What happens in that first 2 weeks?
In the first 2 weeks, quite often we already, like for now, we have already. So let's say one example. We were invited as implementation support for one partner who sold Acumatica, but they lacked resources who did implementation. So in the first 2 weeks, we had basically discovery sessions, like, tell me what your business do, what kind of modules of Acumatica you have. So we basically perform kind of audit in order to understand, like, hey, what you bought. And if to speak about those who decided to buy Acumatica from Acupower, first 2 weeks is usually setting up meeting cadence, like how often we will meet, which people will meet. Like we have business analysts who analyze business, and distribution, like who will work on which tasks, because we have those people who are good in finances, we have those people who are good in manufacturing area and so on. And we make sure to clear separate responsibility. Like this is area for which we're responsible, and this is area for which you are responsible as a customer. And dear customer, please make sure that you have your best people working on ERP implementation with us. Not, it shouldn't be, let's say, punishment for somebody to work on ERP. And again, sometimes we've seen that. And second point, again, the most important is, like, listen, this will be like you pay us money for getting ERP, but we need to make back. But this is your ERP. This is your product. Yeah. And the way how you like you are a driver's seat, we consult you what is good, what is bad, or let's say technical decision or design decision or how to achieve it. But again, meeting cadence, testing. Sometimes we provide automated testing, sometimes we don't. It depends. But basically 2 weeks, like what we will do, how quickly we will deliver,
Yeah.
how quickly you will test. And we also, like in our contract, we make sure that we don't have a clear timeline by dates. And what I mean clear timeline by dates, I mean, we don't say months is June, July, we will have this, August, September, we will have this, but like we say, in 2 months, we will have this. After completion of this, we will have that. After completion of, let's say, that, we will have another thing. And everywhere we write like, we need your sign off. We need your sign off. And sometimes it is ironical that we wait for sign off as long as we make implementation of some section. We implemented manufacturing for 2 months and like, we wait for your sign off. Like you need to sign here that your people are happy. And then every like another 2 months is like, hello, I'm calling you to ask you, where is your sign off? Please wait. It didn't happen.
And what's like a realistic timeline like for businesses working with the ERP delivery partner? So we mentioned earlier like a 9-month back and forth, and you mentioned there, sometimes you're waiting the same amount of time for sign off. What is the average timeline that you're typically working with a business?
For now, what I see is typically, so let's say we always follow phased approach. And phase number 1, shortest one, which our team been able to deliver was 2 months. Phase 1, and then phase 2, it's kind of, it can last forever because like there is a joke, not so hard first 80% of the project as remaining 80% of the project.
Very good.
Yeah, because like all in all, no business has the same process forever. Yeah, like all businesses change. Yeah, like today we use one software, tomorrow we use another software. After tomorrow, legislation changed. After tomorrow, tariffs entered. 3 months later, like 2 days later, tariffs frozen. Then tariffs again unfrozen.
Yeah, you can never really judge the timeline based on external factors, I guess. But yeah, very good. If something goes wrong mid implementation, something like a feature doesn't work as expected, the prototype isn't exactly what the customer wants, or a process doesn't translate, what does course correction look like from a delivery partner side?
I cannot speak about other partners, but about ourselves, I can say we just make customization which fixes what doesn't work as customer wants. Like if somebody wants something,
it's that simple, is it?
Absolutely trivial. And this is something that shocks a lot of our, let's say, when my team participated as rescue team for failed implementations, like let's say we had one customer in how to say fitness industry, and they didn't like for that industry specifically, it was a bit of challenge, like manufacturing process. And they wanted to abandon Acumatica because it didn't work for them. And like, listen, we will be like, if Acumatica will have this functionality and this functionality, will it work for you? Yes. Okay. 2 weeks, customization done, published, works. That's it. Wow. So from our standpoint, because Acumatica is extremely flexible, if something doesn't work as customer wants, like, just tell me. Tell me how you want it to work, and we will stretch ERP. And I would say even more. Sometimes it gives us ideas for products for market. Like we had one customer for whom it was important to manage what ERP contains, what it doesn't contain. As outcome, we built even for free for that specific customer attachments management, and it is one of our best-selling products, like attachments management in Acumatica. Wow. So like we build it for them even for free, and let's say a couple of other examples, like somebody wanted integration with so and so, and Acumatica doesn't have it. Okay, we will make it for you.
I think one of them was the deal to Acumatica integration that you built from scratch.
Yeah.
What was the gap the client was facing there, like, and what did solving it actually involve from you?
So that customer, it was international company, and for them it was important. For them it was important to have payroll, like international payroll, supported. And they had locations in USA, Canada, South Africa.
So they're dealing with a lot of different currencies in one system, I guess.
Yeah. And for them it was important to track. For them it was important to have international platform like Deal. And for Acumatica, it was a bit of a challenge to have all of those rules and regulations, because every country have different rules and regulations. What insurance claims, how insurance is paid, private insurance, public insurance, and so on. And Deal is very good at that. So for that specific customer, we built that integration between Acumatica and Deal, and we try to sell it.
And just how complex was that, like, compared to other sort of integrations you've built and delivered?
I wouldn't say it was complex, like 100 of hours. So 1 month, and we had working prototype. And then just once that customer opens business branch in some exotic country like Uruguay or Paraguay, and suddenly Deal have something, Acumatica doesn't have it, and for us we're like, okay, for those countries we need to do.
Yeah.
I hope I will not offend anybody from those countries saying exotic. I'm just exotic. I'm just saying exotic from what I built, from what I dealt with. So people in Uruguay or Paraguay don't I don't have anything against you.
You might get a few LinkedIn messages, Yuriy. Very good. Yuriy, so I like to leave the audience with some practical advice they can take away today. So particularly anyone who's about to start working with an ERP implementation partner. Most buyers sort of spend time evaluating the software more than the implementation partner. What should buyers be asking, before they sign?
My main suggestion will be make sure that those with whom you speak, that they hear what you say. And second point, ask questions, and make sure that, let's say, if you asked 10 questions and you received answers only on 2 of them, then probably go to someone else. At least 80% of your questions should be answered, because sometimes people don't know, and that's why they can cover it. But make sure that you are heard.
And looking back over your 13 years of working as an ERP implementation partner, what's the single most common mistake you see a lot of buyers, businesses, customers making?
The most common is they don't understand what ERP is capable of.
How do you deliver that to them? Because obviously that's a very open-ended statement.
How do I deliver that? I can tell you 2 weeks ago, I was on the call with one company. They wanted some time entry automation. And when I said, listen, we can make for you in Acumatica so and so, they said, Acumatica can do that? Yes. Why did our partner didn't tell us? I'm sorry. I have high opinion about your partner. I'm kind of I'm confused as you why your partner didn't tell you that your ERP can do that.
Yeah. Yeah, very good. Well, Yuriy, you've been a brilliant guest. You've given a real honest ground level view of what a good ERP implementation partner actually does, and you've answered the questions buyers should be asking and the delivery partner before they sign. So that perspective is exactly what anyone appointing or working with an ERP partner needs to hear. So thank you so much for joining us today, Yuriy.
Thank you for inviting.
And thank you all for listening, and we'll see you on the next episode. Bye.
Bye.